Hi, Mystery Recapped here. Today, I'm going to explain an American horror thriller film called Old. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. It's time to get Shyamalan. At the start of the movie, the Kappa family is invited to a resort for a holiday trip. The parents, Guy and Priska, have never heard of the resort before, but they are excited nonetheless. Once they arrive, the entire staff greets them, including the manager himself. A woman then arrives and gives them welcome drinks. After a while, she leads the kids, Trent and Maddox, outside. Several other people are hanging out at the candy station, where the kids meet Idlib, the manager's nephew. Trent immediately befriends him, and the two start exploring the place. Meanwhile, Maddox and her parents put on their bathing suits and have a great time at the beach. At first glance, it seems like the family is about to have the time of their lives. However, little do they know that they are in for one hell of a horror ride, probably a twist ending too. The next morning, we are introduced to the other families over breakfast. Charles, a renowned surgeon, has come with his mother Agnes, his wife Crystal, and their 6-year-old daughter, Kara. Crystal openly flirts with the waiter right in front of her husband. I hope I get super rich someday so I can have a broken relationship too. Then there is the Carmichael couple, consisting of Yaron and Patricia. The latter suffers from epilepsy, which often causes her to have seizures. Even today, during breakfast, she experiences a violent seizure, but luckily, the surgeon Charles is there to help her. Meanwhile, the resort manager approaches the Kappa family and tells them about a beautiful beach located just 5 kilometers away. He also mentions that he has already arranged a vehicle and all the essentials for their trip. Guy and Priska are puzzled as to why they are being treated like royalty. Nonetheless, they agree. Shortly afterward, the family boards the bus and gets ready for their trip. To their dismay, Charles and his family also join them, making the excursion far less exclusive. After a while, they drive past a gate clearly marked off limits. None of the guests notice it, as they are too caught up in their own activities. Once they reach the end of the road, the driver drops them off and points them toward the beach. He doesn't even bother to escort them there or help carry their belongings. Before leaving, he mentions that he'll pick them up at PM. In the next scene, the group continues walking through the forest and into a narrow cavern. From there, they eventually arrive at the beach. It is an absolutely stunning place, just as the resort manager had promised. Wasting no time, both families begin unpacking their belongings until they notice a lonely-looking man sitting nearby. He is revealed to be a famous rapper named Mid-Sized Sedan. Maddox immediately recognizes him and tries to get his autograph, but her dad tells her to leave the guy alone. After a while, the 3 kids start playing and discover numerous items buried in the sand. Most of them are toys, while some are other objects that people would normally bring to the beach. Things get even weirder. The beach doesn't contain a single fish, not even small mollusks. And you know what they say, no mollusks, get the hell out of there. Meanwhile, Trent, being the curious kid he is, goes swimming alone. He splashes through the small waves and is having a great time until a dead body suddenly floats toward him. Terrified, he screams for help, and the adults immediately rush to rescue him. The body is brought ashore, and the surgeon Charles deduces that the woman had drowned only recently. He then accuses Mid-Sized Sedan of being the killer, as there was no one else on the beach when they arrived. Dude must think Mid-Size murdered her ass. The accusation becomes even more convincing when Sedan is seen bleeding from the nose, suggesting that he had gotten into a fight with a woman. He tries to explain that he had nothing to do with the incident, but no one believes him. Meanwhile, Trent keeps complaining that his swimsuit feels tighter. Could it have something to do with that dead naked body on the beach? This could be the start of a problem for little Trent. Charles's mother, Agnes, also says that she is having difficulty breathing. Sensing that something bad is happening, Charles tries calling for help, but there is no signal in the area. Just then, the couple from earlier, the Carmichaels, arrive at the beach. They too have been dropped off by the driver on the resort manager's orders. The terrified group immediately briefs them on the situation. As a result, the husband, Yaron, decides to stop the driver from leaving. However, as soon as he runs into the cavern, he suddenly falls unconscious. A few seconds later, he wakes up back on the beach with a terrible headache. Everyone is confused by what just happened, but before they can investigate further, they learn that Agnes has stopped breathing. The group immediately rushes to her side, and Charles does his best to resuscitate his mother. Unfortunately, all of his efforts are in vain. Meanwhile, the Carmichaels are talking to the Kappa kids to distract them. Yaron asks Trent how old he is, to which he replies, 6. The Carmichaels find it hard to believe, as he looks considerably older. Just then, Priska arrives at the scene and is stunned by what she sees. Miraculously, her children have aged by several years, making them almost impossible to recognize. Seeing the chaos unfolding around him, Sedan makes a run for it, and Charles chases after him. However, as soon as they reach the cavern, they black out and regain consciousness back on the beach. Witnessing all of this, a worried Priska insists that they should find another way out of the place. Unfortunately, every time one of them gets near the large canyon, they lose consciousness and end up back on the beach again. This means they are trapped for good with 2 dead bodies around them. To make matters worse, the children are aging so rapidly that it will soon be difficult to find clothes that fit them. We're gonna have to see our kids naked. Panic sets in, and the adults begin brainstorming what to do next. The Kappas believe that a virus is causing all the strange anomalies, while Charles, who has started becoming paranoid and increasingly unstable. Charles makes a cut on Sedan's face with a knife. Someone's got to call Charles out on his racism. Surprisingly, the wound heals almost instantly, as if it had never existed. After a while, Maddox takes Sedan aside and asks him the truth about the place. He insists that he is just as clueless as everyone else. As the two grow more comfortable talking, Sedan reveals that he suffers from a rare condition that prevents his blood from clotting properly. Meanwhile, the adults discover that the woman found dead on the beach had been suffering from sclerosis. Just then, Priska starts losing her senses and soon collapses to the ground. It turns out that she has a tumor, and this is the main reason why her marriage with Guy had been falling apart. Before they arrived at the beach, it was a tiny tumor, but now it has grown to the size of a tennis ball. With time running out, Charles decides to perform surgery using the knife he has on hand. However, as soon as he makes an incision, the wound heals instantly, just like it did with Sedan. To make matters worse, Charles begins talking to himself. Before arriving at the beach, he had already shown symptoms of schizophrenia, but now, the condition is rapidly taking over him. Nice try, Charles. We know, you're just racist. Fortunately, the rest of the group helps Charles snap out of it so he can continue the operation. Charles then makes another incision near Priska's abdomen, and this time, everyone holds the wound open to prevent it from healing. They only let go after Charles removes the massive tumor. As soon as the wound heals, Priska regains consciousness. She is no longer sick. Unfortunately, their moment of relief doesn't last long. They soon realize that the dead woman from earlier has been reduced to nothing but dust and bones. Her body had washed ashore only a few hours ago, yet it has somehow completely decomposed. Priska, who is a museum curator, examines the remains and explains that a process like this would normally take at least 7 years. This is when the group finally realizes that time is moving much faster on the beach. Priska calculates it precisely and concludes that every half hour spent there is equivalent to an entire year of human life elsewhere. Meanwhile, the kids, Trent and Kara, are seen munching on the remaining food. When they return, everyone is shocked to see that they have grown into adults. Not only that, but Kara is heavily pregnant with a child. They must have had sex, like 7 seconds ago. Realizing that she could give birth at any moment, Charles and the others lay Kara down and prepare to deliver the baby. Crystal also wants to be with her daughter, but she passes out from anxiety. When she wakes up, she discovers that Kara has already given birth. However, the baby is dead. Time moves so quickly for the infant that it never had a chance to consume enough food and develop properly. Trent witnesses all of this and becomes confused. Despite being physically grown up, he still thinks like a 6-year-old. Meanwhile, Charles has completely started to lose his mind. At one point, he threatens Yaron and tells him to go away. At another, he tells his wife to put on makeup, claiming that she looks ugly. Charles eventually crosses the line when he grabs Sedan and repeatedly stabs him with a knife. The poor rapper doesn't even get a chance to heal because of his condition, which prevents his blood from clotting. Devastated, Yaron decides to swim across the waves and call for help, believing that risking his life is better than dying on the beach. Shortly after he leaves, Guy carefully takes the knife away from Charles, who has become completely paranoid. Watching all of this, Guy suddenly realizes something. Every family that arrived on the beach had one thing in common: at least one member was suffering from a medical condition. For example, Priska had a tumor.